Salutations and shit, folks. Welcome to another episode of Travel and Shit, your new favorite travel podcast, where I, your host, D. Carey, have an experiential conversation about travel because travel is so much more than vacation. So if you're new, welcome. Happy you're here. And if you've been here, I appreciate your support and hope that you continue to show up for the kid. So I told y'all I was working on some things and I was working on some things and I meant it when I said it. So I've got another guest. Welcome to my beautiful guest. Am I pronouncing your name correctly? Kunbi or Kunbi?
Kunbi.
Kunbi.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining me, Kunbi. Please go ahead and introduce yourself.
Right. Hello, everyone. My name is Kumbi, and I was born and raised in Lagos, Nigeria. Came to the US in 2004. I work in the education field. Currently, I'm based in Nashville, Tennessee. And I work in a charter school, to middle school, where I run the special education and English as a second language program. And I love to travel, and I guess that's why I'm here on the show with Big Carrie.
Yes, I was on the good Lord's internets in some of my favorite travel groups, and I want to say it was No Madness. And I think the topic was customs or just issues at the airport. And when I saw the shit you've been through at customs, I absolutely had to reach out. And it's testament to say, if you will, that sometimes you just need a spark of interest to find out so much more. Because I initially was just curious about like your customs interactions, and then like you've got this incredible travel story. Like you've got so many in like the short little time we've been talking before recording, mad things. So let me start where I said I was going to start. And what was your experience of travel growing up as a kid? I know I've mentioned in past episodes for myself, I didn't really see travel as an option, if you will. I only traveled with my grandparents. I'd never been on like your stereotypical family trip where my mom, my dad, my brother, and I go someplace, the four of us as a unit. It was always, if my grandparents go someplace over the summer, like we'll go with them. And occasionally, like my parents might show up. And then as I started getting older and I started traveling, since my mom had, my parents had both been places, but my mom was a flight attendant for a while. So she never really put in my ear that there was anything less than safe about traveling as a solo woman. But my dad was always like, you ain't got no friends. Like, you ain't got no man to take you. Like, there's nobody you could have come along with you. And mind you, he's chilled out a bit, but like, I get his concern, right? But it's mostly, I don't know if that is D family perspective or like is that an American family perspective? What was your experience like with travel growing up, and did that in any way shape how your family may have influenced or not influenced your desire to travel as a young person?
Yeah, so like in the Nigerian mentality, traveling was going to the UK or to the US. The UK mostly because, the British colonized Nigeria. So somehow they feel like going to the UK is like I don't know, some kind of award, like, oh, I made it type stuff. So that was the Nigerian mentality. Um I think it's still a thing, like going to the UK or the US now. They just added Dubai to the mix.
Hmm.
um so that
Okay.
was like, yeah, that was the thing, like with traveling growing up. Every December we traveled to our village, because that is a thing, to go to your village during Christmas. So we did that like every December. The only time I got to see like another state in Nigeria was a different state apart from my village and Lagos where I lived, was if my mom had a work conference in like a
Mhm.
different state, I would like tag along with her. And for me, I was just fascinated, like, oh my God. Because when people think about Nigeria, they tend to think like, oh, we're all the same, but we're not. Like, the British brought different kingdoms together into one country. So we're all very different depending on your ethnic group. So to me, it was just interesting to go to a different state and seeing their culture, like it was completely different than mine. So that was like the traveling I had. The first time I ever traveled out of the country, first time on the plane, was when we went to the US and we kind of collided with 9/11. We had gone to the US to Atlanta. We have family in Atlanta, my dad's sister, and then my mom wanted to see her brother in LA, and my parents schooled in the US in California. So we were at LAX when 9/11 happened, and it was crazy experience. So in the mix of like 9/11 being a very tragic event, it was mixed feelings because it was like my first time in California. And we went to like Universal Studio, Disney, and so all of that excitement, but also knowing like something really bad just happened and a lot of people lost their life. But for me, like that trip was like the first time I felt like, oh, when I grew up, I would like to like see other countries and be on the plane more often. So after that, I went to the US again with my dad. This time I traveled a lot with my dad. Traveling with your mom is completely different than traveling with So traveling with my dad to the US. We went to Atlanta because at that time my brother and older sister were living in Atlanta. So that was that. So after that, I was like, I kind of like this. And
what's the difference between traveling with your mom and your dad for you? Because I'm thinking of my parents. What is the difference like for you?
So with my mom, it was really chilled. Like, she let us like explore. Like when we went to like Universal Studio, my younger sister wanted to like try all of the rides. My mom did not like it. So my mom's like, I'm not gonna do it, but like definitely do it. And like it was just that. But with my dad, like God forbid I turn to like talk to someone. Who's that? Do you know the person? And they start to lecture me on like the dangers. So it was like extremely protective, and it was almost like killing the fun, like like just chill. And then it happened like on the plane that we were not seated together. I did not mind not sitting with him.
Oh, he did.
Plane ride, but he asked the people, so then they switched the seat. So it was that one person that would ask, "Can we switch seats so I can sit by my daughter?" I'm like, "Damn, we're going to the same place eventually."
It's the same automobile. It's the same. What do you call it? It's the same plane. We'll get there at the same time.
So that was it was just a little bit annoying, and I get where it's coming from, right? Because but but to me as a teenager, then it was just like,
not with it.
Just leave me alone. So that was the difference.
So you were in Atlanta with your brother and sister.
Yeah, and that was actually fun. Being with them. My older sister is also extremely protective, like my dad. So yeah, I remember then I wanted to start locks, and she refused. She does hair. That's what she does for a living, and she refused to start the locks for me because she didn't like locks.
Go figure.
So she gave me braids instead of locks. Those are the kind of type of stuff. And then when we went back to Nigeria, I started uni. I actually started university like pretty young. I finished high school at 16.
Okay, little humble flex.
And then I went into uni. So one of the things I actually did not discuss before we started this was I didn't like what I was studying at the university. I was in medical school. Because like when you're growing up, when the people ask you, so I want to be this, and then when you grow older, you start to question, do I really want to be that? So that was my experience. Like I didn't want to be a doctor no more, but there was an issue in the Nigerian mentality. You got to be a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, an accountant, otherwise your life is wasted, right? So when I told my dad I didn't want to be a doctor, he got really, really upset. My dad is a professor anyways at the medical school. He got really, really upset. So at that time I decided like, okay, I can make a decision. I can continue doing being in medical school and being unhappy, or I can make a drastic decision. And I did that. So what I did was I had a boyfriend in the US. He got my ticket to the US. So I stole my passport from my family. And then I ran away from home. I think I was 17. And and then I came to the US, to Houston, because that's where I was living. And I started school. He actually paid for my school for like the first 3 years when we were together. So that's how I got to the US, like almost permanently. And when I think back, I think it was a really good decision, because now I can do whatever I want to do. Yeah.
This is like a literal jaw drop. Come on, early autonomy. Whoa. So let me say to the little cousins, love y'all that are listening, you're not hearing from me that it's a great idea. Play your mom's that part, right? But damn, first of all, to get a nigga to pay for your education that early for 3 solid years, come on for that part. So toot that horn. But wow, that's not just like running away from home. That's like running away from home. Like that's huge. But the distinct difference is that you did it for what you knew to be right for yourself. Like it wasn't, a temper tantrum. You didn't just say, you won't let me date him. You don't like him because his hair is blue. I'm going to go leave and be with him because he's the bee's knees. Like, no, it was for an education. And that's a huge undertaking. But clearly from someone that's able to complete high school by 16, then you were a little bit above. You're a little ahead of the game there with your thought processes. Wow. So what was that experience like?
It was great. I knew I was making the right decision because I was in my second year of medical school, and it was the year like you start to like dissect real human beings. Like it's not a rat no more. It's not a rabbit. Like it was a real human being. And it was at that point I knew like I cannot do this. Like I cannot do this. So for me, I guess that's how I justify the reason of leaving home. Because it was either like I was going to continue with that and maybe kill myself because I wasn't happy, or I could try to change something. So I didn't think through what I thought 5 years from then would look like. I just was taking it a step at a time. So for me, like coming to the US was freedom that no one can tell me what to do because you're far away anyways.
Right. Time difference. Oh, you're breaking up. Can't hear you. Bye.
So it just gave me the freedom to like do what I wanted to do. And then I guess it was also a good thing that Houston, Texas was where I went. It has a really large Nigerian population. So it didn't really feel like I left Nigeria because everywhere I turned, there was a Nigerian. There was a Nigerian farmers market. There was a lot of Nigerian restaurants. So it did not feel like I was abroad. It felt like, oh, I'm in a community of
it made for a gentle transition. So from graduation, like by the time you graduated and you finished undergrad, and then, so you came to Houston for undergrad, or was it for grad school? It was undergrad.
For undergrad, yeah.
Okay, so you finished undergrad, you're into that space between what you're deciding to do after college and then grad school. Like, what were your options? What did you decide? What did you go with?
So by the time I graduated, my degree was in political science and economics. I no longer liked economics, but I had like 2 more classes to take. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna just do it. So I was thinking about what I wanted to do. I know like I kind of wanted to do international development, but I did not know how to like get into it. And I also knew I wanted to get a master's, but I wasn't ready. So what I did was when I graduated, I decided to give myself a graduating gift to myself, from me to me, for, finishing grad school, for finishing undergrad. So I bought a trip to Guatemala and to like learn Spanish, do volunteer work, and like live with a host family. So I did that for 2 months. So my plan, because I didn't have any experience traveling to another part of the world, was apart from the US and Nigeria that I knew. So obviously I paid a whole lot of money for this program that pays for you to take Spanish lessons in a local school, stay with a host family. And then I found out like they kind of ripped us off because it was just expensive.
I was going to ask if that was a program that you did like through your school, or if you like kind of put
I just found them online. I found them online and I was like, okay, I don't know anything about this part of the world. They know what they're doing. And you know how they have like all of this testimonial, which you don't even know if it's true or not. So I did that. And when I got to the Spanish school, I met like other people that were traveling, and some of them were like backpacking. And just hearing people's experiences was like amazing. It made me feel like, oh, I think I can do this. And my plan was only to actually stay in that city. In Guatemala, it's called Shela. But the host family I stayed with, they were like, oh, do you know like there are Black people in this country? And I was like, wait, what? And they were like, yeah, like there are Black people in this country. I did not know there were Black people in Latin America at that time. And so they were like, oh, if you go to this coastal town, there are Black people. So I went to that coastal town, and then I saw like Black people. Like, I was like, oh my God. I know. And I was just like, oh my God. So then I made a decision that, okay, I think I want to travel to all of the Latin American countries and look for all of the Afro-Latinas in those countries. So when I got back to the US, I was fortunate to get a job it wasn't education, it was an education NGO. So I worked my butt off for like a year to save money so I could travel for a year. Nice. So after 1 year doing the job, I traveled for a year in Latin America.
All right. So did you do backpacking? Did you do budget travel, luxury travel? What was that not leap year. What do you call it? Break year? Gap year. Yes, there you go. Gap year. What was that like for you? How was your experience?
So it was a combination of, I would not say luxury. I would say like I did some mid-range stuff. And I typically just stayed in hostels. I started the 1 year of traveling in Colombia. I think I was in Colombia the longest. I was there for like almost 4 months.
Wow.
I was in Medellin. I enrolled in a Spanish language course at one of the university in Medellin. And I stayed with a host family. So that was the mid-range because the host family was middle class. I wanted to stay with a middle-class family because I wanted, I needed some kind of comfort.
Yeah.
So that was like the mid-range stuff because the price was higher than if I decided to like stay with like a different economic class family. So that was the mid-range stuff. And it was a really beautiful experience because I was able to like travel to like different part of Colombia. I traveled by bus. I didn't use they didn't have a low-cost airline at that time, so it would have been more expensive to fly. So I would do the crazy stuff of like taking bus for like long hours, just to save money. So I did that. Yeah, I did that. And then once I left Colombia, I flew into Panama. And then from Panama up onto Mexico, it was I crossed like land borders. And when I got to Mexico, I traveled to Cuba by flight. And then went back to Panama for like a few weeks before returning to the US.
That's a nice healthy trip. 4 months in Colombia. So when you enrolled with the Spanish course through the university, I assume that you have to be, or do you have to like be matriculated in a current university? No, because you had already graduated. Was it something because of your proximity to being a student? Because I'm curious, like if I years removed from graduation wanted to like take courses, or if I wanted to take classes, I could get myself to anybody's country, but then what options, now again, time has passed, but just out of curiosity, was at the time, did you have to be like within 5 years of being a student? What was that experience?
No, I guess one of the reasons I actually chose that university was because they had the Spanish language program for foreigners. So you didn't have to like I've had any type of formal education because it was geared to foreigners. So all you had to do, we had to take a placement test so that way they know what Spanish class to put you in. So that was the only recommended, that was the only mandatory stuff. So after that, they helped with getting a student visa. They also found the host family for me, and they had like events. And then one of the benefits to it was I could take any classes I wanted. It would not be for a grade or for credit. If I like wanted to sit in one of the university classes in any major, I could do that. Just to like help with me understanding Spanish.
Oh, that's so cool.
So I sat in a few political science classes, and it was just fun. Like, my Spanish was not that great then. So trying to understand the discussions in the classes that was just in Spanish.
Right.
Yeah.
So are you fluent now?
I would not say fluent, I'll say advanced.
Okay.
People understand me when I talk and I understand them back.
That's all you
Yeah.
need. I mean, ain't
Yeah.
nobody asking you to like run a business in Spanish. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Can I order my foods and you know how much my change is supposed to be? That's all I really know.
Yeah.
So I remember you mentioned your group trip, but overall, what would you say your travel, I don't want to say personality, but like your general travel options? I don't know why the words are not wording for me right now. Like, how do you normally travel? By yourself?
Yeah, typically I travel by myself. I just find it easier to travel by myself. Because if I wake up one morning and don't feel like doing anything, then I don't do anything.
Right.
So that's one of the reasons why I like to travel. And I feel like with me traveling by myself, I'm able to best navigate and be safe. Because I'm in control of me. And I don't need to worry about what other people are doing. I've done a few group trip. I've done like sometimes like a trip with one other friend or two other friends, and for the most part, it's worked. I have like favorite people I don't mind traveling with,
Right.
because it's just like it's hassle free. Like they do what they want to do, I do what I want to do, and then we can meet up at some point. But like talking about like a group, like with a lot of people, I did that one time, and I'm not sure I want to do that again. Yeah.
Yeah, please tell me about that trip.
Yeah, so that trip was to ID. At that time, we I was in grad school at Cornell, and we had this amazing friend. She was at Cornell too, but she was not in our program. I think she was in the agriculture program. She got a job in ID, and she moved, even though like she was still in grad school. She like put her grad school on hold and moved. And
Wow.
yeah, so I thought that was dope. And I was like, I'm gonna come visit you. And she was like, yeah, sure, come. And they had the earthquake. So we went like maybe 5 or 6 months after the earthquake.
Okay.
So they were still in rebuilding mode. Um, once I bought my ticket, I was like, oh, I'm going to ID to visit Maurice. I'm going. And everybody like, oh, I want to come too. I want to come too. And then the ticket was so cheap too. It was like $250 from New York
Oh
City.
yeah. Of course
So
everybody want to go.
yeah. So everybody bought their ticket. And I'm like, damn, okay, no, no worries. I like you guys at Cornell. Maybe, it'll be fun traveling together. So we were flying with Copa Airline, and with Copa Airline, they always stop in Panama anyways. So
Okay.
we were able to like extend our layover in Panama so we could stay like 2 days. And I knew
Nice.
Panama. Yeah, I knew Panama at the back of my hand,
Right.
and I had
'Cause
friends
you'd
in
been there.
Panama. So we started this extensive email thread of like itinerary on what we're going to do in Panama, and then also ID as well. So we had this detailed stuff. I thought everybody was ready because I was ready. And I was very clear in the email. So we could not find an hotel that we could afford because we were all grad students. We didn't have a job and we didn't have money. So I found a couch surfer. I use couch surfing. So I found a couch surfer, and myself and two other people stayed with a couch surfer. Our three other friends, they were able to stay with one of the girls is from ID, but she was born and raised in the US. So, but she had a friend that was working with the UN in ID. So she was able to arrange for the rest of the girls to stay with him. So that's pretty much how it happened. And the couch surfer was actually really great. Like she got us a taxi to pick us up from the airport, like straight to our house, so we didn't have to navigate that. None of us spoke French, by the way, not Creole. So, so that was another thing. So while we were leaving Ithaca to drive to New York City, 6 hours drive, one of the girls on our trip,
Damn.
yeah, 6 hours drive to catch a flight. One of the girls on our trip had only a backpack. Like the rest of us travel light. Like we had a backpack and we had only carry-on luggage. Like nobody checked in the bag. So that's how light we carried.
Smart.
But she only had a backpack, and a backpack did not look like it had anything in it other than a passport. So we asked, where your stuff at? She was like, I'm going to buy it when we get there. Buy what when we get where? Oh, I'm going to buy clothes when we get there. And we're like, we all looked at each other like, oh, okay.
Yeah, you got it, sis.
Yeah,
Do you?
maybe you can support like, the local businesses rebuilding type stuff. So we get to Panama City, and then she asks, because from the airport we were gonna like drop off our stuff at the hostel, and one of my friends in Panama City was gonna pick us up and take us to the Panama Canal and give us a private tour of the Panama Canal.
Nice.
For girl, when we get to the airport, she asks, "Can we instead go pick strawberries?" And we all looked at her like, "The fuck? It's a big city. You don't pick fruits in a big city."
No,
And
girlfriend, we can't.
strawberry, I thought strawberry only grew in like cold places. Panama is not cold.
We could do that sometime. You can do that on your own time. Were
Yeah.
you not
And
in
then,
the thread with the rest of us? Like,
I know. And then we looked at her like, no, we're not. Like, we're going to the
okay.
hostel, we're going to drop our stuff, and we're going to Panama Canal. Um, she kind of wanted to trade tantrum. Nobody has time for that. Like, we're all tired. Like, we all just drove 6 hours to New York City and then to travel. So we get to the Panama Canal. It was fun because it was a private tour. We didn't have to pay. We did
Nice.
not have to pay. It was a private tour.
There
And
you
then
go.
it took us to like a local place to like eat, and the music was good. We were having fun. She
There you
didn't like
go.
the food. The food is not like Panamanian food is like American food. Like they don't
Okay.
have anything drastically different, but she didn't like the taste. I don't even know what that means.
Okay, girl.
Yeah, so we get to the
Should have put
hostel.
some spices in your little backpack or something,
I
maybe
know,
some
right?
ketchup,
Yeah,
but
it was
whatever.
crazy. Yeah, so we get back to the hostel, and then it was night, and she was like, "Oh, she's hungry. She wants to find something to eat. She's just gonna walk around. Like, who goes to a foreign country and walk around at night? Like,
Okay.
I don't even do that in Nashville for a different reason, but I don't walk at
Right.
night in Nashville. So I'm like, I'm not going. I'm definitely not going because I'm Black, so I'm not going.
Yeah. So
Um,
I was getting there, and I figured I had an answer in my mind without having to ask you. But whom were your accompanied friends on this trip with you,
so
girlfriend?
yes, it was me, Black from Nigeria. There was a Black American from Atlanta. There was a girl from Serbia. There was a Nepali. And then there was she's her heritage is from Haiti, but she grew up in the US. And then there was this girl from Kazakhstan. So she's not even white. She's from Kazakhstan.
That's a whole nother kind of white. That's like,
Yeah.
that's got it.
So yeah, so which
That's
was
like Eastern
why,
Europe, right?
yeah,
The stands.
which
Got
was
it.
why that I didn't understand the disconnect, because I would think that our culture was not fundamentally different from where we're going to, because yeah,
Developing
that
nations, like,
yeah, so that's what I thought, but I guess I was dead wrong. So yeah, so she was like, she's just gonna walk around, and then she was asking the hostel people, and then the hostel people that from Panama were like, I would not recommend you walk at night to get something to food. Like, they had free pancake 24 hours. Like, you can make your own pancake.
oh, okay.
Yeah, just like, no, she don't want pancake, la la la. And then like was being rude to them. And yeah, so that was the Panama saga. So we get to Haiti, everybody's excited, like,
Yeah.
oh my god, we're gonna see Maurice, we're gonna like do different stuff, and everybody was just so excited. My couch surfing host was amazing. Like, she went above and beyond. She didn't even have to do half of the things that she did for us.
Now,
When we
question
got
for you: with couch surfing, what would you kind of say that's comparable to Airbnb, like a shared room for an Airbnb?
It depends on, so in a couch surfing, you can list what your space is. For some people, they have like an extra bedroom. For some people, like, you're literally sleeping on their couch. So it depends on like what that person has. I've been fortunate enough that when I use couch surfing, I've had my own room to myself.
Nice.
Yeah, so that was the thing with the couch surfing host. She lived, her dad was a doctor, and had his own private hospital, so they lived upstairs of the hospital.
Nice.
Yeah, so there was actually a lot of rooms
Okay.
In the house. So she had told us before the trip that because of the earthquake, they didn't have running water, but they had like a water truck that delivered water to the house. So it was going to be a bucket type shower. I was like, oh, that's fine. I'm from Nigeria. We we bathe with like bucket and
Adaptable.
so it was like okay. And then the Nepali was like, yeah, I'm from Nepal. We did this too. So it wasn't anything like different. So we go there. The couch surfer. The first night we get there, we're like, oh, we're going to the club. And the couch surfer wanted to go with us, but then our friend from Kazakhstan obviously did not have anything to wear. I don't wear makeup and I don't really like to dress up, but I had on a cute dress. And then the Nepali girl, she was once Miss Nepal.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah,
okay, girlfriend.
Yeah. So she was like looking
tiara
cute
and all,
stuff.
I guess.
I know. And then our good friend from Kazakhstan did not have anything to wear because she left upstate New York with a Cornell sweatpants, a Cornell sweatshirt. That's all she had.
Okay.
So obviously she saw us like getting ready, and then she started to throw a tantrum that she has an headache, she's tired, she don't want to go. And I felt really bad because then the couch surfer could not go with us because she didn't want to leave her alone in the house. And I felt really bad because I was the one that reached out to the couch surfer. It was my account. Like it was
damn.
Yeah. And I felt really bad.
Also that messes up your good time. Like she's the plug. We're in your neighborhood. Like you're the one that can get us into places. None of us speak Creole. None of us speak French.
Okay. Yeah, it was crazy. So we went. The Nepali girl was able to convince her to go. So they both speak Russian because the Nepali girl, her mom is from one of the former Soviet Union countries. So she's amazing. She speaks Russian, Hindi, English, Spanish. Yeah. So she was able
That's how you get to be Miss Nepal. Shit.
I know, yeah. So she was able to communicate with the Kazakhstan in Russia, like, no, this is fucked up, you going. Because the couch surfer wants to go. So she went with us that one night, and everybody's dancing, everybody's having a good time.
What did she wear? Did she have to borrow somebody's stuff?
She wore a sweatpants and a white t-shirt. Yeah, that's
I'm so glad they let y'all in too.
yeah. So that's what she had on. But then she got there, she saw how everybody looking so cute. Like everybody, like people dress up in ID, like they dressed up. So like she saw all of that, and then the next night, we went out every night, and then the next night,
how long were you guys there?
We were in the country for a total of 5 days. But every night we went out. The next day she did not come. She even threw a bigger tantrum, and so we just left her like nobody has time for this. But for me, I've already had enough. The Nepali girl, I'd never seen her get upset, but she yelled at the Kazakhstan girl. Like I've never seen Nira upset. No one I've ever seen Nira upset. She's always smiling, always nothing phases her, but she got upset. And by the time Nira got upset, I was just like, yeah, I can do this with the group. So I told them, I'm gonna see you at the airport. They left Port-au-Prince to go to like some kind of town that had like a really beautiful beach and stuff like that. I don't like the beach, so I was like, I'm gonna stay in the city. Yeah, I don't like the beach. Because when people say, oh, it looks so pretty, it looks the same to me. Yeah, so I stayed in Port-au-Prince. They went and they had to leave her in the hotel room from what I heard. And I was like, I saw them at the airport. I had a good time. And then when we got to the airport, there was also another, that was drama. So she is an international student. I had a green card by then, but she was an international student. The girl from Nepal was also an international student. But if you're like traveling on a student visa, you needed to have gotten some kind of paperwork from your school, but she didn't get that, which kind of made it slightly difficult for her to return to the US, because if anything goes wrong, the airline is going to be the one that is going to be fined. So that was the issue we faced. But when you're having that type of issue, you don't yell at people that could potentially help you. She was yelling at the airline. workers. And people from IT are just like Nigerians, like, don't fucking come for me because I'm just not going to help you. So she started to yell, and thank God for Tonika. Tonika is the Black American from Atlanta. Tonika is also very calm, and thank God for Tonika. Tonika was able to like help them, and they were able to email Cornell and get a response back like within 5 minutes.
Wow, good.
From Cornell. That's how she could like get on the flight back to the US.
Low key, like, oh, figure like after the bullshit, she really like after the way she seems to have carried herself for that trip. Y'all better than me. Like, I'm like, my flight's good.
Yeah, okay. That's what I said. That's what the rest of us said. But Tonika is really cool. Like she has a beautiful heart. So obviously only Tonika would have done that for her. Because I was like, I mean,
you spent all this hot time here being an asshole to people and being nasty. I hate people being nasty to service workers. Like, I've always had some every job I've ever had, even if I didn't like exactly work face to face with the consumer in whatever industry I was in, every job I've ever had has had some level of customer service attached to it. So I know what it feels like to be on both ends of it. I've been dismissed as a customer. I've had people be totally nasty to me. I've had people shout in my face. Like, I've had it all. But at the same time, I've also just been that really nice person to the customer service person because I know how it feels. How about we just start with a hello? Like, when I call and order Chinese food, like, hey, how you doing? And she actually responds because we do this all the time. Like, I'm good today. That's good. I hope y'all doing all right for the weekend. Have a good weekend. These are people. These are people, especially not people that fucking with your food. I had one time going through a Taco Bell drive-through. Now, mind you, the girl at the little window, she was doing a bit much. We pull up to the thing and she's all, hey, can I take your order? Absolutely. Just give us 1 second. And we're talking about, so you want hard shell or you want soft shell? If I get 4 hard shells, don't be asking for that. Hey, can I take your order? In a second, girlfriend. Just working on one more thing. All right. And so before we even get back to the top, she's again with the can I take your order? And it's like, first of all, it's 12:30. There's no one here. There's no one behind us. We're not holding you up. Like, and so my homegirl that was driving spazzed on the girl, like she flipped. And I was just like, peep game, no, I don't want nothing else no more. I'm not eating it. I'm not eating this.
You don't know
at this point, it's like, I don't know what's going on inside. We are outside. If we were inside, we could at least see to the back. Where are you grabbing? What are you doing? Why is it taking so long? Not out here. That's all you. Or tacos. You can have my hard shells. You can have the soft shells. I'm good. I do not play with people that make my food.
For all good reasons.
I remember when we were speaking, you mentioned a mandatory work program in Nigeria.
Yes.
What is that?
So there is a program called National NYC, National Youth Service Corps. It was a program that was created at the time after Nigeria got its independence. I think the mission of the program was to get Nigerians to know each other because, like I said, like Nigeria is pretty much like three very powerful kingdoms that was brought together by the British that never liked each other before the British came and were brought together to be a country. So there was just a general mistrust of people from other ethnic group. So the mission of the program was like, get out of your whatever states that your ethnic group is dominant and go somewhere else so you can like, you know, get to experience the real Nigeria and get to experience other cultures. So that was the mission of the program. But also the program is required. If you want to work in Nigeria as a Nigerian citizen, you have to have completed this program. Otherwise, you can't get a job you can't get a job anyway because they're going to ask for your certificate from that program.
Wow.
So so I went back to that program after grad school. And it was, so I think, thinking back, I think I would have enjoyed the program if I'd gone after my undergrad.
Okay.
Not after my grad school. I felt a little bit old, to be honest. Okay. A little bit old, and I was just irritated half of the time. So the program starts with 3 weeks of paramilitary training. I was unfortunate to have been posted to a state I did not want to be posted. So they like, once you apply for the program, they send you to any state in Nigeria.
Oh, they also pick you up and put you this is an immersive program.
Yep. Yeah. So I would have been okay if I was sent to like a northern state or a eastern state, because for me, it would have been an opportunity to learn about this culture, since my ethnic group is mostly Southwest Nigeria. But I was sent to like another Southwest states. It was like an hour from Lagos.
Gotcha.
And they sent us to the village for this 3 weeks paramilitary program. It was a real village. And yeah, and me like having the comfort of being raised in middle class Nigeria and being abroad and then coming back, I was on the edge. So for one, there was not enough space for the people in the camp. My bunk bed was in the hallway. Yeah, because it was overcrowded. So there was there was a female dorm, there was a male dorm, and there was not enough space. So they had to put bunk beds in the hallway. Wow. So that's where it was. It was a three floor building. And I think like on the first floor, that's where I was. There was about close to 50 to 60 girls on that floor. And there was only one bathroom. Only one, and it did not even have running water, and it got flooded.
How so it was not even running water and it flooded.
So like, yep. So we made a decision. All the girls on the group, we made a decision like no one was going to use it, because then water would come to the hallway, and that way, like those of us in the hallway, it was just
that's not fair to you guys.
Yeah, so we made a decision. So then they had extra space outside. I'll call it a space because it was not a bathroom. It wasn't like a toilet. It was a hole in the ground for you to do number 2. And then they had like an uncompleted space for us to take a shower. So there was no roof. It was just like a fence. It was a fence. There was no roof and there was no door. Yeah, that's where we're supposed to take showers. And it was the same situation for the girls on the second and third stop. They could not use the one bathroom they had inside because it was going to get flooded. So everybody had to like take the shower outside. Because if I want to take a shower, a bunch of other girls wanted to take a shower. So we all could not use the uncompleted, the place with no roof to take a shower. So we actually took a shower outside. So we got a bucket with water. We took a shower outside. Yeah, that's how we took a shower. So there was nothing like a warm water shower.
Damn.
Yeah, it was cold water, and you had like 2-3 minutes to like take that shower and like get inside. So that was the 3-week stuff. And then we had to wake up pretty early, because apparently Nigeria woke up very early, like 5 o'clock. I don't know why, that makes no sense, but we had to wake up at 5 o'clock. And they had like the siren that would go off, where like you had to wake up and then you shower, and then we all had to wear the same thing. You could not wear your own regular clothes except for Sunday for a few hours. So you could wear it on Sundays to like go to the mosque or to go to the church that they had on the camp. But after that, you had to change into the uniform that was that you bought with your money, obviously. So the uniform was either the khaki, they gave us a green khaki type pants, and a white t-shirt, or you could wear the white t-shirt and white shorts. That was the only thing you could wear. And you could only wear white shoes. You couldn't wear like anything else. So we got outside, we had to stand in the sun. There was a lot of lecture that nobody was paying attention to, and then we had to march. We had to do like a lot of stupid stuff because it was a paramilitary stuff, training, and you could not skip out of it. And if you skipped out of it, you were going to be punished. Punish mean that they lock you in some kind of room with no window, a small room. They lock you there for like a few hours. So they had that. but I got a little bit of privilege because I was a foreign trained student. So there was this perception that if you schooled abroad, you were soft and you were not used to the ad life. I took it. I was like, yeah, I'm not used to the ad life.
Oh, I'm so
Yeah.
sad. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm so
So
culture shock.
I got a lot of privilege from that, like from the food they served there. I didn't even eat the food. It was disgusting. They had like a market where like women from the community came to sell their food. That's where I had my food.
Okay.
I got away from like a lot of stuff. Like sometimes like the lines was so long for anything. Like if you any paperwork you wanted to do, but because I was a foreign trained student, myself along with other foreign trained students, we had to advocate that we needed our own separate line because we were not used to
y'all G the system. Y'all
because
really?
we're like in London or in the US, we don't stand in lines. So we didn't know. So we got away with stuff because we're not used to doing it, because in the UK and in London, like we didn't do the stuff like that. So we got away with stuff, but it was still like really, it was really a tough 3 weeks stuff.
Hell yeah.
So after that, after the 3 week stuff, then they tell you where your permanent placements will be. And that can be anything from sending you to a very remote village in that state to teach in a school or to work in the local government stuff, or you could be sent to like the capital city or to a bigger city. And I was unfortunate again, second time being unfortunate. I was sent to some kind of really small village where it was a very conservative Islamic village.
And are you Islamic? Do you practice Islam? There we go. That's the right way to ask it, right?
Yeah, I don't feel like that's at this point. Yeah, I don't practice any religion, but my family is Christian. So I get to the village, I get to the school where I'm supposed to be. I have my nose pierced. I had 5 different piercings on my ears. I get there, the principal of the school looked at me and was like, "You're not gonna survive here. I'm gonna reject you." And I was like, "Fine, I'll wait for the rejection letter." So he gave it to me, and I went to the capital to give them the rejection letter. And they were like, "Oh, do you want to desk?" I'm like, "Do I look like I'm gonna survive in that village or any village?" They're like, "No." So put me in the capital of that state. Yeah.
They don't want me. Like, don't do this to them or to me.
I know. Yeah. So I went to the capital. I ended up being in the capital city of that state. It's called, the name of the capital city is Ibadan. And I was able to maneuver my way to get posted to one of the National Institute of Research. And I liked it there because then I was doing something intellectual and it was great. But then it was also another hurdle trying to find a place to live. Because, single women cannot live by themselves because you're going to be looked some type of way. And I'm like, I live by myself in the US. So, yeah. So trying to find like a place to live was also like a lot of landlords would not rent to you as a single woman. So like trying to navigate that, I was able to get somewhere that was okay. I kind of made my dad pay to renovate the place. So I did that. Yeah. So I was getting comfortable with that, setting. I made some friends that I really did value. But I think like about 2 months of being in the capital city, I got a letter that transferred me to Lagos. I was like, oh, okay, yep, I'm going to Lagos.
That is absolutely fine.
Yes, I got to Lagos and I lived at home and I was posted to like a local government and I didn't have to do anything. I just had to show up once a week and have them sign my stuff. So and then I just started looking for my different things to like do because I didn't have to be at the local governments that it sent me to. So so that was the experience.
That ended up okay. It started rough.
Yeah, that was a rough start. 3 weeks it's rough. The first 3 weeks and then the last 3 weeks of the program, because the last 3 weeks, thank God they don't send us back to the village, but it's like you trying to get like all of your clearance to prove that, because you're not allowed to leave the country during that 1 year experience. So there was like a whole lot of paperwork, like getting that done at the last 3 weeks was like also stressful, but I did it. We all did it.
Right.
So
Something about I don't disagree with that in a sense where it kind of forces you to take on some level of responsibility and autonomy for yourself. I assume that there are, processes that you can find help with, or you can always, seek help from someone. But unlike here, where like you could skate by not ever having to fill out any paperwork. You can skate by not having to do anything, but there is a level of civic engagement that is encouraging the country is encouraging its citizens to participate in some aspect of how this looks for all of us, while also, depending on where you end up, it's transferable skills. Like you're able to follow up with paperwork, you're able to commit to dates and shit. Like, and do you have to go to secondary school or university or anything for you to be able to
yeah.
participate in it? Okay.
Yeah, in the program you have to have a college degree.
Wow.
Yeah, in order to be in it. Like, yeah, you need a college degree.
So essentially you can't work in Nigeria without having a college degree,
Yeah, you cannot find a decent work. You can like get a job as like, we don't call it grocery, we call it a supermarket.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want like a professional type of job, you need a degree, and not just a college degree, a master's degree, because it's very competitive. So yeah. So education is a thing, is a big thing.
Wow. I guess that's why y'all come here and blow us the fuck out the water. Like y'all do much better than we do. Wow. So if you wanted to work at a supermarket, like if you wanted to open your own business, or if you wanted to just do something that wasn't exactly white collar, like say you wanted to do blue collar work, if you wanted to do something in masonry, or I know that we have different like trade schools and stuff you can go to here. Do they have trade schools, or do they allow you to, like there are jobs for people that aren't college educated, right? Because I would assume that that's also, do they provide free education in Nigeria?
Free on paper. In reality, it's not free. So they have like the y'all call it high school, we call it secondary schools. Even in the school, like primary school, which you guys call elementary school. So they have like public schools that's supposed to be free. On paper it is free, but in reality it's not free, because every school asks for like different kind of fees, administrative fee, this fee, this fee. They ask for a whole lot of fees. And I kind of get where those schools are coming from, because so after independence in Nigeria, we went through many years of military dictatorship, and that kind of messed up like the entire system. So public service worker, people that work for the government, state or federal, it doesn't matter, they go several months without getting paid. So in order for people to still provide services, all of those type of fees started to come in, so that way they can somehow support teachers and staff that may not get paid. So although it's free education, but all of those fees will prevent a very poor family from sending their child to school, because they can't afford those fees. And then it's the same thing for like university. It's not really free. There's a scholarship if you attend a university in your state of origin. You get like some kind of scholarship, and there's some kind of assistance for like families. Yeah, there's some kind of stuff, but even that you have to like fight for it. You have to fight for anything. You have to fight for it. So it's not really free. We don't have trade schools. So if you wanted to like learn to be a plumber, to like do anything in plumbing or any kind of blue collar job, you have to find somebody that's doing that job, and then you become their apprentice.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's how blue collar type job is done.
Okay, so last question for you. And the way you explained the, I guess, work study program in Nigeria, it made me think of what you were saying about Teach for America. I know you spent a lot of time in the United States, and you were just talking about your time back in Nigeria. Like, what do you want to go back? Or do you want to leave the United States, period, I guess is the question I'm more interested in getting answered. Because I know that there are a lot of us here that are like, yeah, we're over the shit. Like, we don't want to be here. So I'm curious as to someone that isn't originally from here that is here. Like, do you even want to be here? Like, do you want to stay here? What is your outlook on the way your options are looking in terms of, residency or just being someplace?
So eventually I would love to leave. I would love to go back to Nigeria eventually. But I would not go back to Nigeria if I don't have enough money to sustain the kind of lifestyle I would want to live in Nigeria. Mm-hmm. Nigeria can be expensive. So for example, if I wanted to like rent a house or an apartment in the US, you like pay security deposit and first month rent, and then you pay every month. In Nigeria, you have to pay like 1 year rent before you can move in. Yeah, and for me to have the same level of comfort that I'm accustomed to now, it's gonna require for me to have more money
up front, it seems.
Yeah. So, okay. And we don't have like credit systems, like, how credit score, like all of this stuff is not a thing in Nigeria. So if you wanted to like start a business, you are coming up with your capital yourself. You can't rely on the bank to like provide like a loan. So like there's like a different way of doing stuff that you would take a type of getting used to. But then also it comes with some kind of level of comfort, because I would be able to afford a maid if I move back home with some kind of resources. I will be able to afford a driver if I don't want to drive myself around. So there's some things that I think like it balances out. I know like definitely if I move back home, so I am in my 30s, I'm 35. I've made a decision a long time ago that I do not want to have kids. And I know like if I go back home, people like to give you advice when you don't ask for it. So I know like there will be a whole lot of when are you gonna have kids? Your clock is ticking, this kind of stuff. So there'll be like, I can choose to ignore people.
Yeah, but it's annoying. It's like, why? Yeah, I shouldn't have to.
There'll be a whole lot of that. But yeah, I think eventually that will be what I want to do, especially because I'm very passionate about special education, and we don't have, I think where we are in any country in Africa when it comes to special education is where the US was 50 years ago. So we were like 50 years behind. Okay. So I would like to do something like in that realm.
Wow. That's important. Every child deserves an environment that understands their needs for, or their the conditions that they learn best in. I know one of my favorite quotes is that whole if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, you'll always think the fish is dumb kind of thing.
Yeah.
Numbers aren't my thing. But if you judged me based on how I stressed and fought through math, you would never know that I read pretty fucking well. That I can actually speak to people. Yeah. I get the words, just not the numbers. Whew. Kunbi, thank you so much. Like now I feel like part of what I love about travel is that I've always enjoyed information, right? Like I enjoy knowing shit without having to know everything. And one of the things that I have found distinctly different in the way I interpret that information is that when I'm able to absorb it through travel, it resonates so much differently than if I'm like sitting and being instructed. Like I excelled in school, but I never enjoyed it because there's that level. Now you have to take this test. Now you have to prove to me that you understand, or, that you can regurgitate the information the way that I said it to you, versus, well, throw me out there, coach. Like, let me figure it out. Let me do something with my hands, and then it makes more sense to me, right? And so listening to you really get into, first of all, I think it's very, I don't know what the right word for it is, but you could ask me so many things about these good here, United States, because I too am 35 and have lived here all of my Black ass life. I don't got answers for you. But it seems as if whenever you ask someone from someplace else in the world, they've got answers for something that happens in the country that they're from. You don't even live in Nigeria right now, but you're able to answer questions about Nigeria for me, right? And it's just like, as an American, I just feel like, well, fuck. I paid attention through most of my classes, but none of this information really sticks. But in the realm of discussing things through travel, I feel like there are so many different little fires that are ignited, and there's just a different level of, what's the word I'm looking for? Interest and curiosity. There are different levels of curiosity, because it's one thing to read a book, right? It's another thing to watch a movie, but to talk to somebody that looks like you, sounds like you can envision has a couple of things in common with you, and it's just like, oh, so wait, I'm hearing this from the lens of someone who spent the same amount of time on this here planet as I have. Like, this is what I really, really love about travel, is that it gives you these opportunities to experience, like, not a different version of yourself, but like, you're a 35-year-old from someplace else. I'm a 35-year-old from here. We've both had different travel experiences. Let's shoot the shit. Let's just talk about it. Like, I really don't think I'm not extraordinary. I'm not a super special, there's something about me kind of person. I don't find that to be unique of me. I think that everybody's got their thing. And what I love, love, love about this podcast is that you can learn and discuss and have so many extraordinary conversations with regular fucking people.
Yep. Yeah, I agree with you. That's why I love traveling. Like, you get to meet people and you get to experience new things. And I feel like once you're willing to leave your comfort zone, you get to experience a part of you that you did not know existed.
Exactly. That's why I'm a big proponent of intentional travel. When I, first started traveling, I was a vacationer, right? Like I was mentioning that to you earlier, like, do you travel or do you vacation? And there's no knock to one or the other, but I just acknowledged the difference in me when I stopped vacationing. You know what I mean? It's just like you go someplace and you're just you in a different spot, versus when you're traveling, I feel like you open yourself to changing, to being different, to welcoming new experiences, to welcoming new ideas, and giving yourself the possibility to grow and expand through those interactions with other people. So even though I ain't going nowhere right now, I'm gonna be here for a minute, I appreciate you giving me that opportunity to grow and expand through conversation. So where can the people find you? If someone has something about Nigeria that you can direct them to a resource for, or if someone is just interested in, your story or wants to reach out to you, where can they find you?
So I used to write a blog. The blog is still online. I've just not updated it.
Been there too,
know,
sis.
yes. Life happened. And then I got kind of busy. Let me see. So the blog is called The Adventures of a Nigerian-American. So I typically share my experiences traveling to different countries and stuff. I also have about 3, 4 of 5 blog posts about when I moved back to Nigeria. You should go read it. Some of my experiences are crazy. I got rejected for a job because I had locks. I got to the interview room and this dude was praying because I have locks. Yep.
Oh.
Yep. So I've had some shitty experience when I moved back home. And I had some great experiences. So I try to capture the good, the bad, because I get irritated when people just tell me the good things about my country. Like, nah, no one is perfect. Like there has to be the bad, the ugly, the great. So let's talk about everything. So I try to capture that in my blog posts, and a lot of the experience I shared on the nomadness custom stuff, I did. It's on my blog too.
Full on blog posts. Yep.
Yeah, my custom experience, and when I was illegal in Bolivia by choice.
Yeah, because that's where I was going to start. Yeah, I was going to start with the converse because the bullets, like the numbered bullets of shit shows in different customs places. But I feel like this was still a really great conversation that we had. And of course, now they can just go read your blog, The Adventures of a Nigerian-American, to find out why my interest was piqued in you to begin with about your customs malfunctions. So is that just one whole phrase, The Adventures of a Nigerian-American, no hyphens, no dash periods or anything, right?
That's a really good question. Let me look it up. Yeah, so The Adventures of Nigerian is all one word, and then there's a dash American.com.
Okay, so I will put that in the description box. As always, any information that we mentioned in the episode will be listed for you guys in the belows. And of course, you can always, beautiful. Thank you so much. And of course, you can always go to travelandshippodcast.com and I will, have the description of, all that shit on the episode page in particular on the website, guys. It's not rocket science, just one of the two. Okay. So Kunbi, thank you very kindly. I appreciate your time today. And guys, remember, travel is so much more than vacation. Just open yourself up to the opportunity. And I'll see y'all motherfuckers at the next episode.